Hello students, welcome to your computer class. In today's class we will be studying about Boolean literals, non-literals and collection literals. So let us see them one by one. In the previous class we had already covered string literals and numeric literals, where I gave you the detailed description about what are numeric literals, and we also saw various types of numeric literals like integer, float, complex, how each of these literals can be represented and other details. Today we are going to see first of all what is a Boolean literal. Boolean literal is actually a type of literal which consists of only two values, true or false. So only two values would be there, true or false, and please mark the case over here. We will have it in capital, that is T capital and rest everything small, F capital and rest everything small. Okay, so this is what it is, a Boolean literal. Any value, suppose you are taking a variable flag and you can give a value to it. Suppose I give the value as true. Okay, or you can take a variable status and provide it the value false. Where can you use Boolean values? Mostly Boolean values are used in those cases when we need to give the answer in either yes or no. For example, you are checking the eligibility of a person to vote. Now over here someone says that okay, if the age of the person, if it exceeds 18, that means he is eligible to vote. So I can take a variable eligible and give it the value as true, else eligible will be false. Now this construct is an if-else construct. Discussing this construct in this class would go beyond the scope of the lesson plan today. So hence I am not going to go deep into it. This is just to explain you that we can have certain identifiers which could point to Boolean objects which contain either of the two values, true or false. Similarly, if suppose I have to represent marital status of a person, so I can take married as a variable which can either be true or false at a time. I can take a variable gender, or instead of that I can take a variable gender male, and it could be either true if the gender of the person is male, or it could be false which represents the gender as female. So these ways I can take values which contain only two values, that is true and false. Another one is the special data type, that is none. None represents absence of a value, absence of a valid value. Sometimes it is quite possible that if we are using a variable, like for example I am taking a variable num and I don't want to assign any value to it, so I can simply specify, but I will be needing this variable in the later stages of the program. There what I can do is I can simply allot the value none, the literal none, to num. So this literal is a special literal which specifies absence of a valid value. When we say absence of a valid value, it means null value or empty value. Now you might be thinking that if I write num as 0, this is also empty value. Answer is no, this is not empty value. 0 also does have some value. After all, we all know that 0 is one such digit which increases the value of the number before it. Okay, so this 0 represents that there is some value, that num is pointing to a valid memory location which contains a valid value, that is 0. Whereas if I say none, it will represent that none, this identifier num doesn't point to any specific memory location. And the last one, our last data type is collections. Our last data type is collections. So what are collections? Collections are of these types: list, tuple, and dictionary. Students, already we have 3 full-fledged chapters in our textbook which contain the detailed discussion where we would be discussing these 3 topics in great detail. So today I will just be giving you a short introduction about these 3. We will not be going into the details of it. List is a collection, list, tuples as well as dictionaries. Those 3 are collections of values of different types. When you want to store values more than one, that is more than one values you want to store, and that too values of identical or different types, then we call them lists. Tuples are also the same thing, but there is some amount of difference between list and tuples, and that difference we would be seeing little later. And dictionaries are also a collection of more than one values, and there also we can store values of identical or different types. But again, they have a different way of storing those values. Let us first see lists. Suppose I have taken an identifier numbers and I am going to use it to represent a list object. So a list object is always enclosed within a pair of square brackets, and within this I can give any numbers separated by a comma in between. So you can see 2 different types of lists over here. One which contains data of identical type, and the other which contains data of non-identical type. That is data which is of different types. Okay, if I add one more field over here, so you can see this 10 is what? Integer. Anvi Sharma, this is string. 14 is again integer. Maths is again string. And this 85.5 is float. So this way you can store a mix of values of different data types also in a list, or values which are of identical types also in a list. Every list item has an ordinal number, that is, every list item will have a specific ordinal number which is not known as ordinal number, but it is known as index or subscript. For example, if I specify this list over here, so here it will start from the index 0 and end at the index size minus 1. Whatever is the size. Now how is the size of a list defined? By counting the total number of items. How many items do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Hence the size of this list is what? 5. And the starting index will always be 0. Ending index would be size minus 1. That is, always the indexing will start at 0 and it will end at size minus 1. Got it? So this is how these values or these lists are created. And just like you had studied in strings, the lists also have negative indexing. You have negative indices. When I say it and speak it in plural, it would be indices. And when it is singular, it will be index. So you have positive as well as negative indices for list item. Similarly, for this list also you will be having it. We will be having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Total of 5 items in this list. Likewise, you can create a list of all strings also. Like if I suppose create a list named fruits. So you can see this is a small list consisting of 4 items. You can see them: avocado, pineapple, tangerine and grapes. So they will also have, if you are wondering what is avocado, it is a very fleshy fruit, okay, which is used for preparation of many sauces. It is usually an exotic fruit which we won't get very easily in the market. Only if you visit some nice malls or you visit some specific stores, you will get it from there. And tangerine is usually another alternate name for a citrus fruit, just like orange, okay. So we can create lists in this way. Now the thing is next, that is tuples. Tuples are also similar to lists. They are also like lists only. Everything is same. Only thing is they are enclosed within a pair of round brackets. Now there is one more concept, students, mutability and immutability, which I would be teaching in the next chapter, that is data handling. So let me tell you, lists are mutable data types, that is whose values could be changed in place. Now its details would be given in the next chapter. So kindly do not get confused at all about what is mutability and what is immutability, because this would be explained. Tuples are immutable and dictionaries are again mutable. Lists are mutable as well as ordered. Tuples are immutable and ordered, whereas dictionaries are mutable but unordered. That is because you have already seen that in lists all the values, they have specific ordinal numbers. So this order will never change. Same way with tuples also. You can see how tuples are represented. If I take a variable here as numbers, we can use a pair of round brackets to represent a tuple. Everything would be the same. I can also use a tuple to represent record of an employee. So here you can see that we are using we have used a tuple, we have declared a tuple which stores one record of an employee, where you can see the employee number, employee name, department designation and salary of the employee. Again, let me tell you, in tuples also these values are numbered or indexed, and everything is the same like lists only. They will also have positive as well as negative indices. Same way with this one also. And over here the size of this tuple is determined by the total number of items within the tuple. Next is dictionary. When we talk about dictionary, dictionary comes under a specific data type known as mapping. Now what is mapping? Students, usually dictionaries, as I said, they are mutable and they are unordered. There is no specific order in dictionary because they store data in a key value form, and they are enclosed within a pair of curly braces. We will have several key value pairs in a dictionary. So usually it is of something like this. Suppose I am creating a dictionary called telephone directory, which contains values in this form. So you can see that we can create mapping in this way or dictionaries in this way, where we would have a key, we would have key value pairs. Here this particular dictionary shows names of persons and phone numbers associated with every name. After all, that's what a telephone directory is all about. It will contain the customers' names and their telephone numbers. So this Amit Raj is your key and this number is your value. So we have key value pairs. This is key and this is value. And remember, they are enclosed within a pair of curly braces, and here we don't have any indexing. Every value is associated with a key, so you can access the values using the key values only. How to access them and all the necessary details, we would be seeing this in detail in the chapter for dictionaries. So that was all in Boolean, none and collections data type.